Dead silence in Call of Duty is one of the biggest debates around and is the most logical debate in the game. Unlike SBMM where people just justify it by saying it's a skill issue or that you just want to pub stomp, I actually see some logical debates around dead silence, and I want to add to that too with what I think about dead silence. Now, there are really two things people are looking for in dead silence. Either they want it as a perk, or they just want silent footsteps in general. And personally, I want to see it as a perk and as just silent footsteps in general, at least depending on the game. And now looking at the Modern Warfare 2 beta, I think the dead silence debate really hit an all-time high. The beta was by far the most silent whore in COD I've ever played, and in return, everyone just listened to footsteps and pre-fired everything. Even the pros hate it, and if the pros hate it, you know that aspect of the game is probably a problem. And if you have seen any video of mine over the beta, you know almost every time, I also say the footsteps need to be changed. The only problem here is that this is an Infinity Ward game that is basically Modern Warfare 19, which means the problem of dead silence is a bit more complex than it needs to be. See, these new Modern Warfare games just happen to be designed very foreignly from a traditional COD, which makes the whole debate a little bit more in depth. These games are designed to be much slower than normal and much more tactical, which is why there are so many different mechanics to slow down the game and reward campers. For example, the high time to kill, the SBMM, the map designs, the incredibly slow sprint speed, the footsteps problems, the minimap, and just so much more. All of it is really just to slow the game down. And the problem is that you have two very clashing playstyles, and the devs are very clearly catering to one side. So if you give these players dead silence as a perk, it's going to create an imbalance in the game and the game's pace, which is something Infinity Ward is simply terrified of. So what's the fix to this problem? We'll simply just lower the footsteps audio to the point where it's viable to move around without being punished. I know Infinity Ward is very contradicting with them saying they don't want a normal minimap because they want people to find where the original gunshots came from, but then punish said players for moving with the loud footsteps, but simply lowering the footstep audio, I think this would easily ease the issue. It wouldn't fix it, but it would make it a lot better. And I think in an era of COD like we are in now with the crackhead meta, having these loud footsteps makes it easier for people who are less skilled at the game to have fun, but it shouldn't punish all players. You have skill base for a reason, stop using it to punish good people at the game. Dead silence as a perk though virtually fixes this. You equip the perk and you're good if you want to be more aggressive and have that more aggressive playstyle. It's that simple. And for the lesser skilled players, they probably won't even make it far enough into the creative class system to equip dead silence. But at the very least though, the footstep audio needs to be turned down. And one thing I do want to point out, since I have seen people talk about it and how games back in the past didn't use dead silence. So for example, the main one I've been hearing is Black Ops 2. And there are several reasons why dead silence wasn't as prominent in that game. I think the main one that people fail to realize is that the game has changed. Black Ops 2 in its prime is an entirely different Call of Duty than any modern day COD for several reasons. I think a great example of this is the equipment players use now. Back in 2012 when Black Ops 2 came out, there was not a lot of people using a monitor with a gaming headset and whatever controller they used. It was mainly people on huge TVs using the speakers in those TVs and the basic Xbox controllers. In 2022 though, there are so many more people playing on monitors that are just simply like 20 times faster than any TV out there. And I would honestly argue that more people use gaming headsets now than speakers. And also going back to the crackhead meta of COD, that was not around back in the day. No one was trying their absolute hardest every single game trying to be the next big streamer, and SBMM wasn't nearly as noticeable. So simply put, I know dead silence, even though it was in the game, wasn't used nearly as much. Even pros didn't use dead silence like that unless it was S&D, since footstep audio was already pretty well balanced. And back to what I said, I do think there should be dead silence as a perk, but the footstep audio should also be balanced and lowered in general. Dead silence shouldn't be a crutch perk like many call it, but the only reason these people call it a crutch perk is that without it you literally cannot move around the map without being heard because people just play the game so much differently now. If footstep audio was simply just a normal volume and dead silence was there for games like S&D or for people flanking, it would be fine. A perfect example of this is Cold War. That game is the only COD game in the last 3 years that I think did COD right. While there was some annoying stuff in the game, they simply did things better for the most part. For example, the footstep audio. It wasn't so loud that it became a game where your ears are the most valuable part of your skill, but it wasn't so low that you couldn't hear it right next to you. It was just right, and even then you had dead silence in the game without sacrificing the pace of the game. Even in comp, unless it was S&D, you really weren't using dead silence that much. In the end though, it honestly comes down to the game, but I think every COD should have not only balanced audio, but it should have dead silence as a perk. I just feel like it should be mandatory. Unfortunately though, Infinity Ward has borderline forgotten how to make a COD, which is why this is such a big problem. If their games just had dead silence as a perk like the rest of the CODs, and had balanced audio without being 95% catered to bad players, this would never have been a debate. There is a reason dead silence has only been a debate in Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2022. If anything, dead silence should be a perk in this new COD too because of the new perk system. It's trash, yes, but at least make dead silence an ultimate perk and at least give us something. I can understand Modern Warfare 2019 not having a dead silence perk because of the way that game was designed, but Modern Warfare, this new one, Modern Warfare 2, I just don't understand it, because even with this new perk system, I feel like it would be perfect to balance it out. Still though, regardless, the footstep audio does need to be changed from the beta, or if they don't, the game is just going to be ruined and be a snooze fest, and I really don't want to be stuck with another bad COD for 2 years this time. Let me know what you think of dead silence though, and if you think it should be a perk or not in COD games. If you did enjoy the video though, make sure not to leave without leaving a like and subscribing for more COD content like this, but until the next time, see ya.